If a lady starts eating fried diet or animal diet, straight away first effect which is going to come in her is she will develop PCOS.
Dairy and animal foods we are consuming today, they have very high amounts of IGF-1 because they are injected with hormones. And that's why girls are getting into periods at the age of 8 and 9. And because of this, later in their adulthood, they are getting into cancers.
PCOS is the most common cause of female subfertility, with an estimated prevalence of up to 12% among women of reproductive age. India also, prevalence of PCOS is in reproductive age group is 11.5, means out of 100 ladies, 11 are suffering from PCOS. This is a big number.
Well, PCOS is called polycystic ovarian syndrome, where if I have to tell you in a nutshell what happens in a woman's body is that she has higher levels of male hormones, and that stops her ovulation, which is egg production, and because of that, she cannot be fertile till she doesn't correct that issue. Now, the point is that we have male hormones, men have female hormones, but in PCOS, women start having more than required of male hormones, and that starts affecting their periods. They start getting hair on their face, hair fall, acne. So they see a lot of male-like symptoms in their body, and that's very confidence shattering for women. And let me tell you, I see at least 8 out of 10 women suffering with PCOS. And they are really in a very terrible state mentally and physically. So basically, not getting your periods for six months or for a year can be extremely damaging to your mind and your body. So basically, the connection if we have to make between animal foods and PCOS is very deep. Because animal foods are high in artificial hormones, because animals are injected with hormones, it increases our estrogen in our body. Now, when you have more estrogen, that's dominance, estrogen dominance. We need estrogen, of course, it's a female hormone, but we need progesterone also to counter that. But in PCOS, women have higher estrogen and higher testosterone, but no progesterone or very low progesterone because they're not ovulating. And that's why they don't get their periods.
So, why the hell suddenly some ladies start producing excess androgens? Actually, that advanced glycation end products might contribute to the etiology of PCOS and infertility. If a lady starts eating fried diet or animal diet, straight away first effect which is going to come in her is she will develop PCOS. So once a lady starts on the wrong diet, she may become obese later on. She may become diabetic later on. But much before that, when she has not developed overt hyperglycemia or obesity, she will develop malfunctioning of the ovaries. You can see French fry has got only 694 advanced glycation end products compared to a beef which is fried has got 9,522 advanced glycation end products. Roasted chicken little less, beef which is broiled highest, lamb broiled again high, salmon high. Boiled beef has got 6,736 advanced glycation end products, means better to eat a French fry compared to a boiled beef.
And animal foods really aggravate it. So the first rule I have with my PCOS clients is cold turkey, we have to cut out animal foods from your diet if you want your periods back. And I have seen girls getting their periods back in 3 months, 6 months, even a year. It may take even a year because that's the time your reproductive system may take to revive back. But it happens. I've had a client who was not getting periods for 3 years. And within 4 months of a plant-based diet, she started getting regular periods. That girls who eat a lot of non-veg foods, young girls between the age of 3 and 7, have a faster onset of puberty than girls who eat vegetarian food and vegan foods. And that's because your dairy and your animal foods have IGF-1, which is insulin growth factor 1, which increases the growth. And because of the kind of dairy and animal foods we are consuming today, they have very high amounts of IGF-1 because they are injected with hormones. So your growth happens much faster. And that's why girls are getting into periods at the age of 8 and 9, which actually should be at 12 and 13 and 14. And because of this, later in their adulthood, they are getting into cancers. Well, like every other kid, I was also sailing in the same boat. The parents force the child to drink milk, but my mom would force me to drink milk despite the strong aversion I had to dairy products as a kid also. I never liked it. But she would say, nahi, doodh peena hai. And when I got into puberty and I started getting my periods, I used to experience a lot of pain, intense pain, that I had to come back from school and college and rest for 2 days. I was immobile.
So this was particularly after consuming animal product like dairy.
So actually I noticed that much later, because when I would, so what my mom would do is, it's okay, you have pain, don't eat anything, just एक glass दूध पी ले. I used to drink milk, I used to puke 2 days in a row. I could not digest anything and I had severe pain and inflammation. I never knew it was the milk which was doing it until I was 19. And one fine day I had curd and I went for a movie in the afternoon. And I went in the theater, I remember I started puking. And I realized the only thing I ate for lunch was dahi and paratha. And I'm like, oh, it's the dahi, it's the milk. And I went home and I told my mom, I said, for so many years, it was the milk which was causing this. And the only thing you fed me during my periods was doodh pile beta. Because wo, theek hai, kuch khana nahi ja raha hai, to doodh to ja raha hai. And it literally made me so unwell, and it was debilitating, and I'm like, I suffered for so many years just because of this milk. And then of course I turned vegan 6 years back, and from then I started changing my clients' food pattern and went to a more plant-based approach, and they started reversing their PCOS and their PMS and inflammation. And I realized the damage that dairy did to me and the repair that plant foods are doing to people, so that's when I realized that.
And consuming whole plant-based foods is synonymous with an anti-inflammatory diet, because there are various mechanisms, like animal foods contain more estrogens, and more estrogen causes autoimmunity in the cells. Vegetarian diets are having more amount of antioxidants, which are possible protective factors against the autoimmune disease. Vegan diets may downregulate systemic IGF, which is again a precursor of autoimmune disease or cancers. Polyphenolic phytochemicals such as flavonoids found in plant foods are thought to protect cells against autoimmune processes.
Yeah, and Ruchika, there's one thing we really need to remember is that animal foods are drug-like. They actually activate the opiate receptors in your brain. So what drugs and alcohol and cigarettes do to you, your dairy, sugar, and your animal foods do the same thing.